Hey guys, this is going to be the second video that I talked about for today. And in this video, we're going to talk about synthetic division. Let me get the document camera pulled up and hopefully we can go ahead and move into this. Maybe we can shorten this a little bit. But we should be ready to go. Again, we're going to talk about synthetic division. And this was the work from yesterday, example 2 for lesson 3-4 that y'all should have looked at. I think you had one problem to do. It had one problem in the example and then one to do in the try. And that was all you had to do. But looking through it as they did to show the example, and then, we're going to basically follow the same thing. Also, don't forget that I posted on Google Classroom today 2 graphic organizers, one for long division and one for synthetic division, just for something for you to refer back to quickly. So let's get into our first problem right here. We've got x cubed minus 5x squared minus 32x plus 64, and we're going to divide by x minus 8, okay? Now, synthetic division is just, it has to be a linear binomial term, meaning there's no exponent on the x, and it has to be a coefficient of 1 on the x. So that x right there is the same as 1 times x. Now remember, -8 right here, as we look at that number -8, it is our 0, okay? It's either a 0 or it's a root, it's a solution to the equation, or it is the x-intercept, okay? So if you set that equal to 0, x minus 8 is equal to 0, you add 8 to both sides, and so x is equal to 8. That is our 0, okay? So the opposite of this, so what we're looking at, we're going to put a little thing right here to separate our divisor. And our divisor is going to always be the opposite of that constant in our binomial. So we're going to put an 8 right here. Now, we're going to put the coefficient of all of our terms and then our constant across here. So we put a 1, -5, -32, and 64. Okay? So we're set up to do our synthetic division. One thing to be sure of, all of our exponents are accounted for. So 3, 2, 1, and then we're ready to go. Okay? Now, I'm going to bring this first number down no matter what it is. I'm going to put a line across right here, and I'm going to put that number down here below where it was. I'm going to take that number and multiply it by 8. And I'm going to put that underneath the next number. So again, whatever my first number is, my first coefficient here is 1. I'm going to bring that coefficient of 1 down. I'm going to multiply it by 8. I'm going to multiply it by our divisor, our 0. And I'm going to put that number underneath the next number. -5 plus 8 is 3. Okay? 3 times 8 is 24. Now, what do I get when I add -32 and 24? I get -8. -8 times 8 is -64. And when I add 64 and -64, I get 0. The last term right here is always our remainder. Okay? Remember, we talked about the remainder in the long division, and that was the number we put over the divisor. Well, here our remainder is 0, so we don't fool with it. So this is our constant, and this is going to be plus 3x, and this is going to be x squared. This is our quotient. That is our answer. X squared plus 3x minus 8. Okay? Now let's look at the next problem. Let me move this paper up a little bit. Let's look at another one. We've got n cubed plus 6n plus 2 divided by n minus 1. All right? Now, first thing we have to do is look to see if we have all of our exponents accounted for. We go from n cubed to 6n. So we're missing n squared. That's not there. So we're going to put that in as n cubed plus 0n squared plus 6n plus 2 divided by n minus 1. And then we're ready to set it into our synthetic division. All right, what is the opposite of -1? +1. So that goes there. Now, what's the coefficient of our first term is 1. Coefficient of our next term is 0, 6, and 2. There's all of our coefficients and our constant. Again, first coefficient, bring it down. Draw our line across, put that 1 down there. 1 times 1 is 1. So what's 0 plus 1? It's 1. 1 times 1 is 1 again. And I add that to 6, and that's going to give me a 7. 7 times 1 is 7. And 2 plus 7 is 9. Okay? Make sure we understand where all those numbers come from. I bring down my first coefficient, and I put it underneath my line across here. I take that first number and I multiply it by my divisor, 1. 1 times 1 is 1, and I put that underneath the next number and I add. 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1 again. 6 plus 1 is 7. 7 times 1 is 7. Put that underneath the next number and I add. 2 plus 7 is 9. So remember, this is our remainder. So if my remainder is not 0, then I'm going to have to put that number over the divisor back up here, n minus 1. So 9 over n minus 1, and that 9 was positive, so I got a plus sign in front of that. And I got plus 7. Remember, the next number is going to be a constant. And then I've got an x term plus x, and then I've got a squared term or quadratic term. So I've got x squared plus x plus 7 plus 9 over n minus 1. Okay? That's our next, that was the answer to that next problem. All right? Let's do one more just to make sure you've got enough to look at. You got good examples. Let me put this back up here and give y'all a minute to write that down. Everybody got a problem? Anybody got a question? When we get together tomorrow on our, I'm used to being in class. When we get together tomorrow on our live meeting, y'all can ask all the questions you need to, okay? So here's what we got. Let me get this paper torn off and we're gonna go to the next one. Tell you what, let's do it this way. Be a lot quicker. How about x cubed minus 8x squared plus 9x minus 5 divided by x minus 3. Okay? Now, are all my exponents accounted for? 3 is my highest degree. So that's going to be, I got to have 3, 2, 1, and then we've got our constant. So we're ready to go. Draw our box to separate our divisor. Now, what is the opposite of the constant in our binomial? It'd be 3. So I'm going to put 3 inside the divisor to show it's separated. It's the divisor. And I'm going to put my coefficients, 1, minus 8, 9, and negative 5. Okay? So again, what do I do with the first coefficient? Always bring it down. If you want to put that arrow there to help you remember, put it there. 1 times 3 is 3. So what is negative 8 plus 3? That's going to give us negative 5. Now we multiply negative 5 times 3. That'll be negative 15. And that goes underneath that 9. And now I add those two together and I get negative 6. Okay. Now I've got -6 times 3 is -18. And again, I'm combining like term, I'm combining sign numbers. So -5 plus -18, and that's going to give me -23. Remember, my last number is my remainder. And again, I've put that little arrow and write that word out there just to remind you. That's not necessarily something you have to do. So in my answer, what am I going to do with -23? I'm going to put it over my original binomial divisor. That goes right here. Now, I got -6, and that was, excuse me, that ought to be a minus sign. I got that minus right there. So that's -6. That's going to be -5x, and that's going to be x squared. So my solution is x squared minus 5x minus 6 minus 23 over x minus 3. And there's our answer. Okay? Any questions? We'll have them tomorrow. Be able to answer them tomorrow. I know I've said that twice now, and I apologize. Look forward to seeing y'all at 10 o'clock in the morning. Hope you have a great day, and I hope this helps you. And we'll be prepared, hopefully, to move on. Hope y'all have a good day. Email me or send me a text through Remind, and I'll try to answer any questions you have. See y'all tomorrow.